She revealed a hidden message to the billionaire CEO. His incredible response changed her life. Ava stood on the edge of the stage, her heart racing as the small-town crowd buzzed around her. The community event, a fundraiser for local schools, had little interest from her at first, but now, as she clutched her father's letter, the weight of it settled like a warm blanket. The letter had been a forgotten treasure, a relic from her late father that spoke of resilience and dreams. Here in this dusty Midwestern town, it felt like magic. The lights dimmed, her voice trembled, and as she read the well-worn words aloud, something within her ignited. Sometimes, she began, her throat tight, the only way through is to fight for what you believe in. Silence fell over the crowd, gripping their hearts. She poured her soul into every word. Eyes glistened and hearts drew close, as Ellie, her spirited 8-year-old, watched her mother with admiration. This was her chance to remind everyone of their strength. Would her father's dreams finally awaken something in this town? Among the quiet faces in the crowd stood Liam, a billionaire whose reputation as a ruthless CEO had traveled far and wide. He had once been a boy, haunted by his own broken past, and the earnest words from this single mother resonated deep within him. For the first time in years, he felt human again. Waves of emotion washed over him, and the coldness he wore like armor began to crack. The connection sparked like that of two souls colliding against all odds. As Ava concluded her reading, the air thick with hope, she felt the weight of countless eyes on her. Liam approached her, a tentative step forward laden with promise. Their conversation began innocently enough, exchanging thoughts about the community's struggles, but her heart clenched as societal barriers loomed over them like heavy clouds. How could someone like her ever trust a man like him? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With Ellie by her side, Ava wrestled with newfound doubts. She saw how Liam's kindness unexpectedly lit a path forward, yet class prejudices closed in, snipping at the edges of her hope. Would he really stand beside her? Would he ever understand her struggles? Suddenly, a tremor shook the town, a crisis erupted, the kind that forced them to confront the festering wounds of their pasts. Ava found herself at the eye of the storm, scrutinized and vilified, while Liam felt the relentless grip of his own lineage clenching tightly around him. In the chaos, Ava yearned for unity, even as the stakes grew higher. Just when they thought they could maybe, just maybe, forge a partnership, the storm deepened, raw and overwhelming. Would they rise above, or were they destined to be ghosts in each other's lives, forever haunted by the very things that kept them apart? The future hung perilously in the balance, and the moment of clarity slipped like sand through their fingers. Ava stepped off the stage, her legs trembling as the weight of the crowd's gaze bore down on her. Whispers floated in the air, but she focused on Ellie, whose wide eyes reflected pride and confusion. Ava knelt to meet her daughter. "Did I do okay, sweetheart?" "You were amazing, Mom," Ellie replied, her voice sparkling with innocence. But Ava noticed the worried glances darting among the audience, the tight-lipped smiles. The message of hope she tried to create was caught in a storm of skepticism. Liam stood nearby, absorbing the reactions, a storm within him brewing. He admired her courage and the way she lit a fire in the audience, yet he couldn't shake the looming shadows of his past. What would happen if he reached out to help? Could this newfound connection withstand the winds threatening to tear them apart? Ava felt the subtle stir of anticipation. She turned to find him approaching. "Ava," he said gently, his voice low and steady. "What you said, it really touched people. They need to hear it. But more than that, your strength is inspiring." She swallowed hard. There was a sincerity in his words that made her chest tighten. "And yet they will remember how different we are," she whispered, motioning to the town surrounding them. "Aren't you scared of being associated with someone like me?" Liam stepped closer, his presence both commanding and comforting. I was once where you are. The labels don't have to guide us. You have something special to offer this community, and I can help you with that. As he spoke, she felt that flicker of hope grow, but doubts clawed at her resolve. Help me? If that brings more attention, more scrutiny, I'm not afraid of scrutiny, he said, his eyes locking on hers with a fiery determination. Neither should you be. Together, we can make a difference. Show them what real change looks like. A moment hung between them, electric and pulsing with possibility. Just then, a commotion broke out from the crowd, pulling them back to reality. A local entrepreneur, often crushed by doubt but still hopeful, shouted over the din. You can't trust a man like him. What does he really know about our struggles? The crowd murmured, discomfort mingling in the air. Ava felt the wind shift, and the hopeful connection between her and Liam faltered as doubt seeped in. She turned to him, feeling the world constrict around their fragile alliance. Maybe you need to leave. Liam took a step closer, frustration etching his features. Ava, don't let fear decide your future. You have the power here. Don't you see? Her breath hitched, the turmoil swirling in her heart. She was terrified of stepping into the light but also yearned to fight. Ellie looked up at them, clearly confused. Mom? What's happening? Ava struggled to find her words, but the weight of the town's eyes pressed against her conscience. I have to protect you, Ellie. But protection often came at the cost of fighting for what you believed in. She glanced back at Liam, seeing the understanding in his expression mixed with acceptance. They were both trapped in their own webs of fears, yet something unspoken lingered between them. Listen, Liam urged, desperation creeping into his voice. I want to let you face this alone. Whatever happens, I'm here. We can do this together. Could she muster the strength to take his hand, to trust as her heart wanted yet her mind hesitated? The stakes were high, and the road ahead twisted unexpectedly. In that moment, Ava had to choose unite or retreat into safety, and the decision could change everything. As the crowd buzzed around her, hearts teetering between faith and doubt, Ava breathed deeply, ready to confront what lay ahead, but could she genuinely embrace the unfamiliar? What if the risk would lead her to a better place or shatter her world even more? She hesitated, the moment stretching, heavy with implications. The future called to her, an unpredictable adventure. Was she ready to listen? Ava stood still, her heart thundering in her chest. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Ellie's small hand grasped her own, grounding her in the dizzying uncertainty. The noise of the crowd faded into a dull roar as she searched Liam's gaze. Mom, please, Ellie said softly, her little fingers tightening around Ava's. You have to say something. What if I can't? Ava whispered, the panic rising within her. She knew this wasn't just a performance or a speech, it felt like a turning point, a crossroads where her past and future collided. Just be yourself, Mom. You're stronger than you think, Ellie encouraged, her voice filled with the kind of faith only a child can muster. Ava took a shaky breath, feeling a spark of determination ignite within her, kindled by Ellie's unwavering belief. She glanced at the audience, the mix of skepticism and hope reflected back at her. They weren't just strangers, they were her neighbors, people who had once turned away but could be persuaded to listen. Okay, she finally said, her voice gathering strength. I'll try. With that, Ava turned back to the crowd, her throat tight but her resolve clear. I know what it feels like to be unheard. To carry the weight of your struggles alone, she began, her words flowing like a stream breaking through a dam. But I also know that change is possible. It's messy and it's scary, but we can create something better together. Liam's eyes were locked onto hers, his expression unreadable but intent, every bit as committed to this moment as she was. The stories we tell ourselves can hold us back. They say I'm different, that I must not belong, Ava continued, her confidence building with every word. But that doesn't have to define us. We can transform these labels into badges of honor. The crowd began to shift, the murmurs of doubt retreating, replaced by a growing sense of connection. Some nodded, a flicker of hope illuminating their faces. And I'm not asking you to trust Liam just because he's here with me. I'm asking you to trust in the possibility of change. We've been through too much to let fear and doubt win. Her voice lifted as she spoke, bathing the square in an inspiring warmth. Ava could see the barriers starting to break down as she went on, her words echoing with a raw truth. Let us work together to make a difference in our community. Let us stand side by side, despite our differences. Because at the end of the day, we're stronger together. Every single one of us. The response was electric. A ripple of applause broke through, tentative at first but growing louder, accompanied by shouts of encouragement. It felt like the tide shifting, the crowd awakening to the possibility she'd ignited but hadn't dared to hope for. But through the applause, doubts still lingered in the air, swirling like shadows. A voice in the back called out, "Can we really trust someone like him?" The energy in the square sputtered for a moment, hesitation creeping back in. Ava's heart dropped, the wave of support crashing down. She needed Liam to guide her through this storm, to help her dispel the lingering fears. Before she could turn, Liam stepped forward, his confidence steel-like. "You should trust me because I'm here alongside Ava, and I believe in what she's fighting for," he stated clearly. "Together, we've faced our pasts, and together, we can face anything that comes our way." The crowd quieted, the strength of his statement wrapping around them like a warm blanket. Ava took a deep breath, feeling the pull of hope in her chest blend with the remnants of fear. She realized then that it was not just her journey or his, it was theirs, a collective struggle towards a new beginning. Could they really forge a path forward together? In that tense moment, Ava felt the shift in herself, a blossom of courage stirred by a promise for something more. It was in that pivot of her heart that decision awaited her, born of both hope and trepidation. As the applause resumed, louder this time, Ava stood at the precipice of change, a fragile yet resolute spirit ready to embrace whatever came next. But even in the glow of newfound hope, a single question loomed: could she trust this moment not to betray her, or would the past come crashing down again? Ava stood there, heart racing, as the applause washed over her like a wave. But beneath the surface of that sound, she could still feel the thrum of uncertainty. The crowd had responded, but doubt still lurked just below their smiles. She glanced up at Liam, who returned her look with a steady gaze, anchoring her amidst the storm. "Let us keep going," she heard him say, almost a whisper, but it felt like a lifeline. Raising her hands, she motioned for quiet, needing to bring them back to the moment. The warmth of encouragement from the crowd infused her with a new energy, and for the first time, she truly believed they could make this work. "Your concerns matter. I understand that. Trust isn't easy," Ava began, her voice stronger now. "I couldn't even trust my own voice for so long. I thought I had to hold everything inside, keep my head down. But that was my past." She paused, letting her words settle. The crowd hung on her every syllable, and she could see shifting expressions, a hint of something genuine emerging in their eyes. "Now, I'm learning that vulnerability is strength. We can't build something new from the shadows of fear." A woman's voice rang out, cutting through the crowd. "But what if he's not who he says he is?" Something tightened in Ava's chest. She felt the crowd's unease echo in her own heart. Was Liam's presence going to pull her down again? Did people really think he might betray her? She turned to him, searching for reassurance. "Let me answer that," Liam interjected smoothly, stepping closer to Ava. "I get it. I was once in the same place as many of you. I faced my demons just as I know you've faced yours. What changed was learning I wasn't alone." He took a deep breath, looking out at the faces before him. "What do we want for our future? What do we envision for our community? I'm here to make amends, to earn your trust one action at a time. I want to be the person my son believes I can be. He deserves better. We all deserve better." Ava felt Lindsay's words settle over them like a wave breaking in on the shore, washing away the doubts, if only for a moment. She looked around. Some faces softened, some were still skeptical. But hope was glimmering in the air, it was tangible and electric. Suddenly, another voice called out from the back, more definitive, then prove it. The words struck her like lightning. Could they really prove themselves to a community that held years of hurt? Proving it is about action, Ava said, no longer asking for permission. It's time for us to come together. Let us work on projects that uplift us all. Fund programs that benefit our children, that fix the parks, clean the streets. Let us be the change we wish to see. This isn't just about us, it's about our shared future. With every word, she felt the tension shifting. Excitement rippled through her as she saw the crowd nodding, voices rising in agreement. Liam turned to her, his eyes reflecting admiration and belief. Let us organize community meetings, he suggested, his voice steady and unyielding. Let us hear your ideas, your concerns, because we can't do this alone. The proposition hung in the air, powerful and ripe with potential. The crowd erupted in conversation, voices spilling into excitement. Ava's heart soared at the thought of collaboration, of uniting their efforts to move forward. But even as the applause swelled again, her thoughts flashed back to the lingering doubts, the fears that had held her back for so long. Would they really trust Liam enough to take that leap? As the crowd began to disperse, she felt the warmth of Ellie's hands slip into hers. You did amazing, Mom, her daughter beamed. Thank you, sweetheart, Ava replied, but inside, she struggled with the question, how would they bridge the past with the promise of a new beginning? Would tomorrow bring the support they needed or just more skepticism? They walked down from the podium, and behind her, the murmurs of the crowd continued, a mix of excitement and uncertainty. But with every step, Ava felt the heaviness of the past begin to lift, just a little. She wasn't sure what awaited her next, but she was finally ready to find out. Because tomorrow was an unknown, ripe with potential. But would they step into that unknown, together? The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows on the street as Ava and Ellie made their way toward home. A sense of urgency flickered in Ava's chest. Today had been a step forward, but the path ahead still loomed large, full of unanswered questions. Ellie swung their intertwined hands, the innocence of her youth juxtaposing the weight of the responsibilities on Ava's shoulders. Are we really going to do all those things we talked about? The little girl asked innocently, eyes sparkling with hope. Ava smiled down at her, swallowing the uncertainty knotting her stomach. Yes, Ellie. We're going to try. But sometimes trying means facing hard things. They turned a corner and approached a small park, one that had long been neglected, its swings rusted and the grass patchy. This was the park Ava had played in as a child, and she could sense the pain of the community woven into its fading beauty. We can make this better, right? Ellie asked, pointing at the broken equipment. Ava knelt down to Ellie's level, meeting her daughter's earnest gaze. Absolutely. And if we work together, it won't just be us. We'll bring everyone in our community along with us. However, doubt lingered in her mind like an unwanted shadow. What if I fail? What if they don't want to join us? Just as she was about to voice her concern, a sudden laughter from a nearby group distracted them. A few teens were playing basketball, their joy contagious even from across the park. Let us ask them to join us for a cleanup day, Ellie suggested. Her enthusiasm was hard to resist. You may be right, Ava admitted with a grin. She watched as Ellie sauntered off, summoning the courage that seemed so limitless in children. The energy shifted, crackling in the air like static electricity. Ava felt a pull behind her as several more community members came into view, intrigued by the laughter. They were familiar faces, neighbors who had once cheered for her, yet more recently had looked sideways out of doubt. Hey, what are you guys up to? One neighbor called out. Ellie pierced through the doubtful haze. We're going to fix up the park. Want to help? There was a pause. Ava held her breath, waiting for their reaction. The air hung thick with memory and unspoken fears. Sounds like a good idea, one of the older kids finally replied, surprising her. We could use this place again. One by one, others nodded, and suddenly Ava found herself caught in the whirlwind of renewed excitement. The laughter that rang out felt like a spark igniting the dim lights of togetherness. What can we do? Another voice shouted from the group. We can organize games, plan the cleanup. I can bring my dad's tools. As plans began to form, Ava's heart lifted. This unexpected unity radiated warmth, fueling her belief that they could transform not just the park, but also the very fabric of their community. She hadn't dared to hope for such instant engagement, and yet here it was. But just as things seemed to flow seamlessly, Ava caught sight of a figure standing off to the side, watching them. It was Liam, his face unreadable, his presence suddenly grounding and intense. The lightheartedness of the moment dimmed slightly as she wondered what might be brewing behind those serious eyes. Are we really doing this? She couldn't help but ask, uncertainty slipping back in. As he stepped closer, the crowd paused, curiosity intertwining with the thrill of newfound purpose. Whatever it takes, he said, his voice steady and committed. For this community, for us. Yet, Ava couldn't shake that tiny voice of fear inside. What if his past tainted their present? Can we trust him? She thought, her heart racing once more as she prepared to speak. Tomorrow would bring another chance for answers, but in that moment, uncertainty loomed in the air, begging for resolution. Would Liam's promise to change stand firm when faced with adversity? Would the community truly unite, or would echoes of the past threaten their fragile hopes? Ava held her breath, waiting for the moment to reveal itself. The chatter around the park buzzed with excitement, but Ava couldn't shake the weight of Liam's gaze. Every laugh and cheer felt like a distant echo as worry wrapped itself around her heart. How could she believe in a fresh start when shadows danced around them? Mom? Ellie's voice cut through her thoughts. The little girl had returned, dragging a few kids from the basketball court with her. Their eager faces animated the moment, but Ava's mind whirled. Ellie, Ava hesitated, searching for the right words. She glanced at Liam as he approached, the group of children clamoring for direction now hovering in anticipation. Don't worry about it. We're all here to help. Liam chimed, his tone warm, yet steady. It wasn't unfamiliar to Ava. There had been times he could crack a joke and make everyone laugh. But this time, he wasn't joking. Okay, everyone, listen up. Ava raised her voice, trying to assert her role as a leader. We have a lot of work ahead of us. Cleaning up the park is just the first step. We want to make this place fun and safe for everyone again. Jumping in, one kid piped up, we can have a picnic here. We should bring food. Ava nodded, feeling a heartbeat of hope for the first time that day. Great idea. But we'll need to clean it up first. Who's in for a planning meeting tomorrow afternoon? Me. Came the chorus, even from Liam, whose smile looked genuine this time. There was something infectious about their enthusiasm, and Ava felt herself relax ever so slightly as the kids jumped into action, brainstorming ideas. Yet there remained a rogue thought, nagging at her. Could they really rely on Liam? As the crowd slowly dispersed, laughter strolling off towards their homes, Ava felt a tug at her heart, a mix of apprehension and anticipation. Can we talk? Liam asked, his voice low. The amusement of the group faded, leaving them in a bubble, isolated from the joy around them. Sure, she replied cautiously, glancing at Ellie, who was busy chatting with the other kids. But I need to make sure. I know what you're thinking, Liam interrupted, his expression turning serious. You want to know if I've changed. If I'm really here for the community, for you. Ava couldn't hide her doubts. It's not that simple. You've got a history, Liam. I can't just ignore it. I know, he said, taking a step closer, sincerity etched in his features. But I promise, I'm committed to making things different. For myself, for Ellie, for everyone. I'm not the person I used to be. Ava searched his eyes, looking for cracks in his resolve. But all she saw was determination. I just don't want to trust too soon, she admitted, fearing that if she let herself hope, it would all come crashing down. He nodded appreciatively. I get it. Trust takes time. But I'm here to show you every day that I mean it. With a deep breath, Ava fought against vulnerability. Then let us start with tomorrow. Let us see how you handle it. Great. His relief was palpable, as if they had crossed a significant bridge together. You won't regret it, promise me it'll be different, Ava blurted, interrupting him as her mind flashed to the possibilities and consequences. Promise, he assured, his composure unwavering. Ava wasn't sure how long she would hold on to that promise, but she felt an ember of something stirring possibility for the first time in years. All right, she said, her voice firmer. Tomorrow, I'll hold you to it. As they moved to rejoin the kids, laughter bubbling back into the air, Ava felt the tiny flicker of hope ignite again. But deep down, she questioned the strength of it. Was this truly the beginning of a community rebirth, or just another step toward disappointment? When Ellie ran up and hugged her tightly, Ava felt for a moment like everything would be okay. But just as quickly, uncertainty crept back, and she glanced at Liam. Somehow, the stakes were raised. Could the past truly be left behind? As night settled, Ava's heart raced with questions. Tomorrow promised potential, but would it also bring troubles that lay dormant, ready to surface? A sudden rustling caught her attention. Ava turned, watching a group of figures approaching from the opposite side of the park. The familiar silhouettes sent a shiver down her spine. What were they doing here? Something told her that the coming dawn would reveal more than she was prepared to face. As dawn's first light broke over the park, Ava stood at her kitchen window, her heart fluttering in time with the morning glow. She watched birds flit about, chirping cheerfully as if nothing hung in the balance. But beneath this peaceful facade, her stomach churned with anxiety. Today was the day they would begin transforming the park, raising hopes for themselves and the community. Yet in the back of her mind, doubts lingered like heavy clouds, especially about Liam. Her phone buzzed, jolting her from her thoughts. It was a text from Liam, excited for today. Let us make a difference. She couldn't help but let out a small sigh. Did he really mean it? Or was this just another chapter in the story of his empty promises? Ellie bounded into the kitchen, still in her pajamas. Her hair was a wild mess of curls, but her eyes sparkled with excitement. Mom! Are we going to the park soon? Yeah, sweetheart. Just give me a few minutes to get ready. Ava smiled, trying to mirror her daughter's enthusiasm. Seeing Ellie radiate happiness made the worries lessen, if only for a moment. After a quick breakfast and some playful banter, they headed to the park, with Ellie leading the way, a bundle of energy. As they approached, Ava noticed a small crowd gathered. She felt a mix of exhilaration and dread. Is that everyone? Ava asked, glancing around for any sign of Liam. Yes. Ellie chimed, tugging her hand. It's going to be amazing. They reached the center of the park where the children had already organized into small groups, huddled around makeshift tables made of picnic blankets. The air was alive with chatter as ideas swirled through the morning mist. Liam appeared, vibrant and ready, a toolkit in hand. All right, everyone. Let us kick things off with some brainstorming. Ava exchanged glances with him as he began to speak. His passion seemed genuine, drawing everyone in. Yet, each laugh from the kids sent a jolt through her, a reminder that trust would not come easily. Liam glanced towards her, catching her eye and giving a slight nod, as if to say he understood. Her heart raced again, but this time it was different. Maybe, just maybe, there was hope in his sincerity. Hours passed in a flurry of activity. Kids sketched plans for a new playground while others gathered litter and painted over dull benches. The park slowly transformed under their tiny, enthusiastic hands, laughter infecting the air like a summer breeze. Yet every now and then, Ava would catch Liam's gaze, still unsure about all that lay hidden behind them. As the sun reached its zenith, exhaustion began to settle in. Ava took a break, sitting on the grass with Ellie beside her, watching the children bounce happily, throwing ideas back and forth like a vibrant game of tag. But it was then that she noticed a small group of older teens hovering at the edge of the park, their expressions veiled in shadows. Tension crept back into her chest. Should she approach them? Would they disrupt the moment that had been so carefully crafted? Liam walked over, his brow furrowed. Everything okay? Ava nodded reluctantly. Those kids over there, I don't recognize them. They might be from the neighborhood, he said, glancing toward them. But if you're worried, just keep an eye on them, she whispered, her pulse quickening with the thought of uninvited chaos. Just then, one of the teens stepped towards them, a wary look in his eyes. Hey, what is going on? Why are you here taking over the park? Ava's stomach dropped. Could they see the changes as an invasion? Liam stepped forward, placing a hand on Ava's shoulder. We're trying to make the park better. Want to join us? For a tense moment, the teen hesitated. Ava could almost hear the wheels turning in his mind. She held her breath, hoping for the best but bracing for rejection. Then the teen smiled, a flicker of interest lighting his features. Do you need more hands? Relief flooded Ava as a new wave of kids surged toward the group, curiosity piqued. But deep down, a new question loomed. How would they all unite amidst the lingering fractures of their pasts? As more teens gathered, an unexpected energy began to flow through everyone. But just as Ava felt a spark of hope, a rush of wind swept through the park, whipping up debris and unsettled feelings. What would happen if those shadows returned and disrupted everything again? The park buzzed with potential, but a storm loomed just beyond the horizon. As laughter mingled with uncertainty, Ava couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What awaited them ahead was the real test of their resolve. She glanced at Liam, his face a mixture of hope and determination, but could they face whatever was coming together? Ava watched as the tension melted slightly among the gathering. The teens, once enigmatic figures lurking in the shadows, were now hesitantly moving toward the vibrant chaos of children painting benches and drawing plans for swings. A weight lifted from her shoulders. Maybe they could bridge the gap after all. Liam caught her eye again, his expression tinged with surprise and encouragement. See? They want to be part of this, he said, his voice low enough that only she could hear. I know, but I just worry, Ava began, her heart still racing. The past few months had filled her with so much uncertainty. Worry is good, he replied softly, an understanding in his eyes. It means we care. But let us not let it hold us back. Ava nodded, compelled by the warmth in his voice, but every so often, her eyes flicked back to the teens, especially the one who had first approached them. He was talking to a few of the younger kids now, and for an instant, she noticed a smile breaking across his face. She couldn't help but feel a twinge of hope that maybe, just maybe, they could weave a new story not just in the park, but within their community. As the sun began its slow descent, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, the atmosphere lightened. Laughter bubbled up again, this time mingling with the older teens' voices as they joined in on the art projects, providing expertise in how to mix colors that would hold against time and weather. Ava leaned back on her arms, soaking in the scene. It struck her as a beautiful tapestry, different ages and backgrounds coming together with the common goal of revitalizing a space they all shared. But the sense of peace was momentarily dashed when something caught her attention. From across the park, a group of suspicious-looking adults began to congregate. Their postures were tense and their body language suggested they weren't happy about the day's developments. Ava's heart sank. She exchanged glances with Liam, who was now fully alert. Stay here, he said, a steely determination in his voice. I'll talk to them. Before Ava could respond, he was already striding toward the group of adults. She bit her lip, feeling the anxiety bubble back up. Did Liam really understand what was at stake? The moment felt stretched, their laughter fading into whispering winds. Ava could see Liam gesturing slightly, trying to explain their mission. But the adults were crossing their arms, shaking heads, their looks disapproving. Ava felt rooted to the spot. She had envisioned this day to be transformative, a moment of shared joy, and now it felt like it could crumble before her. She inhaled sharply. What if the shadow of conflict clouded their hard work? Suddenly, the golden light of the setting sun glinted off something in the adults' hands, a banner. As Liam gestured more vigorously, their heads tilted in interest. But what was it they were holding? Ava's stomach twisted with concern. The younger kids, still bubbling with excitement, noticed the standoff and quieted, their vibrant energy replaced with confusion. Ellie turned to Ava, her eyes wide. "Mom, what's wrong?" Before Ava could answer, a loud voice boomed from the group of adults, shattering the tentative calm. "You think you can just come in and take over? This park belongs to us too." Every eye turned toward the adults. Ava felt her stomach drop again, panic setting in. She had to do something, but what could she say when her own hands felt so helpless? Just then, another voice rose above the crowd, softer yet firm. "Was that Liam? This park belongs to all of us. We're creating a space where everyone is welcome. Together, we can make it a better place for our kids." Ava could only wait, her heart racing with uncertainty, but the feeling of hope sparked once more in her chest. With tension crackling in the air, could they find common ground? Would the community come together, as she had so longed for? But a question lingered at the back of her mind. What if this confrontation escalated, and they lost more than just a chance at change? Ava held her breath, watching Liam stand tall among the crowd of discontent adults. Every inch of her felt heavy, as if the weight of the moment pressed down on her chest. The children who had once painted the park with joy were now frozen, observing a moment that felt charged with implications they couldn't yet grasp. Liam's voice was steady, cutting through the growing murmur of dissent. "This isn't about taking over," he insisted, his eyes scanning the worried faces in front of him. "It's about bringing everyone together. The kids deserve a place where they can feel safe and welcome. Don't you want that for your children, too?" One woman from the adult group stepped forward, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. "But why should we trust you? You show up one day and think you can change things?" Ava's heart sank. She felt the loss of connection, the invisible line drawn between their group and these figures who were as much a part of the community as they were. She could see some of the teens faltering now, hesitant to engage further. "Because we're not just here for today," Liam replied, his voice rising with conviction. "We're here because we care about this neighborhood, just like you do. This park can be a place where we all come together, bridging those gaps between us." Ava felt an undeniable urge to step in, to support Liam, to inject hope into the growing tension. She moved forward, a sense of urgency filling her movements. "Please," she said, her voice trembling yet filled with passion. "We're not outsiders. We're families, neighbors. We want to form a community where our kids can grow up together, learning from each other instead of dividing us." At that moment, as if breaking through a spell of apprehension, one of the teenagers who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "I used to come here when I was younger. This park, it meant a lot to us." His voice was shaky but earnest. "I want it to mean something again for the little kids. We want to help." A stirring started among the adults. Ava watched their expressions shift from skepticism to intrigue. The face of the woman who had spoke earlier softened just a little as she considered the young voice resonating with truth. From behind her, Ellie moved closer to Ava, squeezing her hand tight. "Mom, do you think they'll listen?" "I hope so, sweetheart." "I really hope so," Ava replied, feeling a knot start to untangle within her as she glanced back at Liam. Just as it seemed like a bridge was opening, another voice cut through the gathering. An imposing man with a stern expression stepped forward, waving the banner above his head. "We've seen too many outsiders come with promises. This is our home. We want to let you change it into something we can't recognize anymore." A wave of uneasiness washed over the crowd. Tension thickened the air as whispers surged among the adults. Ava sensed that this pivotal moment was slipping away. She could see it in the eyes of the children, bright and hopeful, unaware of the storm brewing above them. "What if we made a promise together?" Ava pleaded, her heart pounding. "A commitment to include everyone in this park's future? To work alongside each other instead of against? Let us bring our visions together. Maybe we can host community meetings, plan events, and create something truly special together." Silence fell over the crowd, a hesitant pause that felt both relieving and terrifying. Would those words linger or fall flat? Suddenly, a murmur began to build. The teens looked at one another, the adults exchanged glances. Ava felt a surge of determination rise within her. What if this really could be the beginning of a unified vision? Would they dare to explore the possibility of connection and compromise? As she scanned the faces, she caught Liam's eye again, his gaze steady but curious. But there was something else behind his warm expression, and urgency to act even if it meant going beyond their comfort zone. In that moment, Ava understood the stakes weren't just about the park, they were about forging bonds that transcended generations. And as she opened her mouth to speak again, a startling sense of connection enveloped her. But what would those bonds entail? And would they truly be ready for the journey ahead? Ava felt the weight of uncertainty lift just enough for her to find her voice again. Let us create a community garden. A space where everyone, old and young, can come together to grow not just plants, but friendships and understanding. The idea hung in the air, and for a moment, silence enveloped them again, pregnant with possibility. Finally, a hesitant nod came from the stern woman who had spoken earlier. A garden could work, she said slowly, her tone softening. If we plant things together, we can learn to trust each other. A ripple of murmurs, a flow of agreement, began to circulate among the crowd. Ava's heart raced faster. Maybe this was the turning point. Maybe they could forge something real and lasting. Liam stepped forward again, his tone inclusive, calming. Yes. We can set up weekly meetings to plan and execute this garden project together. I'll bring the resources needed, the tools, whatever it takes. Encouragement spread through the teens like wildfire. We can help, shouted one of the boys, excitement beckoning. Let us make it happen. Ava felt a spark ignite deep inside her, her chest swelling with pride and gratitude. They were moving, the community was coming together, and for the first time, it felt like they were on the brink of something powerful, something that transcended the hurt of the past. We can have a launch day. Games, food, music, she added, her words pouring out with enthusiasm. Invite everyone from the community. Let them see what we're building. More voices joined in, plans blossomed, enthusiasm surged, and laughter once again filled the park. They were in it together. Ellie pulled at Ava's hand, her wide eyes shining. See, Mom? They're listening. We can really do this. A smile broke across Ava's face, blooming like the flowers they discussed planting. This was the moment that could ease her worries, unite her community, and redefine their future. But as the excitement swirled, Ava glanced back at Liam, still standing at her side. A full heart met with uncertainty as she pondered how many hurdles lay behind the positive unity they were starting to build. Could they truly move forward, erasing the past that tried to cling to them? In the warmth of the day's glow, she took a step closer to him. Thank you for your commitment. But let us not forget it'll take more than just words to change hearts. I know, he replied, his expression sincere. Change is hard. But we're on the right path, and I'm ready to walk it, even if it means facing the ghosts from before. The acknowledgement settled between them, lending a measure of courage. They would need to navigate each step with care, but for the first time in ages, Ava believed there was hope on the horizon. Gathered right outside, a community began to look beyond their past and lean toward a shared future. As the sun set and painted the sky in glorious shades of orange and pink, Ava felt a new chapter unfurl. Each voice joined the chorus of change, growing louder, harmonizing to the rhythm of renewal. With laughter echoing through the air, she felt Ellie's tiny hand squeeze hers beside her. In that moment, all fears faded into a keen belief that together every age, every background, every wound they could heal, build, and inspire. As they began brainstorming, Ava stepped back, taking everything in: the laughter, the joy, the budding connections. They had taken the first step toward rebuilding this community, and it was beautiful. This was their moment, a profound transformation, and a chance for not just redemption but renewal for everyone involved. And then she thought, if we can do this, what more is possible? The heart of a community beats strong when steered by love and connected by shared dreams. And this was just the beginning. As crowds began to disperse, Ava turned to Liam, her heart full. "Let us keep this momentum going," she said quietly, a bright smile on her lips. "Not just for today, but every day from now on." "Absolutely," Liam replied, his eyes reflecting strength and sincerity. "Together, we will make this park not just a place, but a home for everyone." Ava nodded, finally feeling the last remnants of doubt slip away. There would be challenges ahead, they would face scrutiny and skepticism. But if today was any indication, they had the strength to rise above and push through. Together. As twilight deepened, Ava felt peace settle over her, a promise of brighter days ahead, a realization that she wasn't just fighting for herself but for Ellie, for the kids, for a community ready to embrace change. This was it. They would seize the chance to grow and flourish together. And with one last glance at Liam, she whispered, "Let us show them what we've got." The future beckoned, and Ava was finally ready to embrace it. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that bell to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let your voice be heard. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And don't wait not even one more second, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us spread the hope.